I'm Dr. Bart Rademacher. This is Prescription for Your Transformation. Real people, real conversations, and real success. Tapping into your authentic genius and really looking into our brain intelligence, our body intelligence, as well as our energy intelligence. And why do I say that? Well, I think we take all those for granted, especially the energy part. And because, for many of us, it might seem a little scary because it's so unknown. It's not clear what this is all about. And with that, there's this thinking of, well, I might fail if I try to, tap into these things. Well, the truth is that the magic of life is that discovery of what's magnificent and great within us. And so with the right kind of guides, you can tap into that very, very easily. And so I'm excited to be talking to Shara Ogin today. Last time we talked about her book, her incredible book, a breakthrough book that's going to help you heal so many things in your own personal life and from within, with her insights and her ability to convey the process by which you have access to that and always have had access to that, but you just didn't know about it. But today is going to be really exciting because we're going to be talking about our ancestors. Now, imagine that. Imagine our ancestral lives or ancestors affecting how we are today. But I'm going to allow Shara to explain to us, what it is, how we can put this in context in our own lives today. Thank you for joining me.
All right. Well, thank you for having me here. Okay, so we're talking about my book, and I have a big section about ancestral patterns and how those get passed on through the generations. There's a word I use in my book called memes, and these are traits such as inability to find love, or a scarcity feeling, or shame, or anxiety, So these patterns are passed on through the generations. And also in my book, I really talk about how certain patterns cause physical ailments. More about that later. But for instance, we have these patterns. All emotions respond in a physiological way in our body. For instance, the feeling of, oh, I did it wrong again. That's like a punch in the stomach, And so we'll contract those muscles right there. Or fear of, I think all anxiety stems from our earliest ancestral years, fear of running from the tiger, fear of being killed by the invaders, fear of all the wars. And so we hold that in our chest. So these patterns, as they get passed on, we mirror our parents automatically. A baby instantly learns to mirror her parents or his parents. And along with that mirroring comes thinking the same beliefs and having the same physiological patterns in the body. Now, this is a really edgy topic, which we don't have to get into too much, but we talk about how things are hereditary or genetic. We have genetic traits towards cancer. But as I'm writing this book, I'm thinking, well, wait, is it really that we have a genetic trait, or do we just have the same physiological patterns and the same beliefs that we inherited from previous generations? Now, that's a big open for debate kind of topic. So another few points about this is traits could skip a generation. Like I definitely inherited a lot more of the shame and the feeling like unimportant from my grandma, which my mother never had, okay? So oftentimes when we're working with people who have pain states and it doesn't make sense, they'll go to the doctor and the doctors won't find anything, they'll do a million tests, then there's something at a deeper level that's going on in the body. The deeper level could be many different things. On one level, it could be ancestral patterns. On another level, it could be things that we're holding onto our youth and our childhood, that we just like parts of ourselves maybe that we've discarded or gotten rid of, such as the parts of ourselves who feel unworthy or unwanted. Feelings like that will result in diagnosis and disease over time. And it could result in things from past lives. But let's refrain from talking about past lives in this conversation.
Well, I don't know. We might want to do that because, once again, it's the purpose of this platform is really to open up the conversation and the awareness of all things that are possible, and give it some legitimacy. And let's talk about how these ancestral memes how they're actually transferred. And I will help with a little context of that as far as our genetics are concerned, because we can blame our ancestors for some of the ailments that we have today. And I'll position it scientifically, but I also want you to give us your more metaphysical explanation, because I think that's important. But when we look at our genetic, framework, I mean, we have, what was it, 22,000 genes, but there's a similarity with the Anopheles fly that's really close, and so that doesn't explain, how a human is so different from the fly, and that's because we have those 2 million switches, and so now there's almost an infinite number of possibilities of how those genes are being expressed by opening or closing those genes. So, or switching them on or switching them off, and that's why we have so many differences between species and within species. And so, what does that mean? Whatever lifestyle choices your grandfather, grandmother chose affects their genes today, and they get carried on to the next generation. So that's the scientific basis, which is absolute fact. But now let's go into the less factoids of metaphysics and explain to us, how those names are actually carried over. Because, if we're, mirroring our parents, it's got to come from somewhere. And besides that, if we look at, patterns of how, birds migrate, I mean, they don't exactly talk to each other.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a great example of what is known as the morphogenic field. The morphogenic field is all of your DNA, your cells, your every aspect of you that is communicated in an energetic field. Everything is energy. So just you and I being here together, there is a field that we're creating between the two of us. Every time I do a lot of group programs, and there is a rarefied field that's created. And the only way I could really describe it is by in the terms of morphogenic field. Rupert Sheldrake first talked about that, and actually Darwin talked about this as well. That's where this topic originated, and now it's well researched. It's well evidenced. So all you have to do is Google search it. There's some work that's done called a therapy work called family constellations that really helps to change the field, the energy in the field. All it takes is one person. Every person has a powerful effect on the field. Like if I just all of a sudden started yelling at you right now, our field would be completely broken and it would be completely shifted. If somebody in the field has shame because they're gay and they're rejected by the whole family is going to feel that field, and everybody is subconsciously going to feel some sort of suffering, and the suffering is going to be passed on downstream. So all suffering gets passed downstream. And then the kid comes in and they're holding a whole bunch, the good, the bad, and ugly. So I'm not saying that all the bad, they only inherit the bad, they inherit the good as well. This is all part of the field. Now, the really amazing thing that my book speaks to a bit is we all have the possibility of shifting the field. Just by thinking one positive thought is one way you could actually shift the field. And then the thought has a rippling effect to all the people around you and everybody in your family. Now, there's fields created with like people in your school, people in your community, people in your neighborhood. There's all different fields, but nothing is stronger than the field of your family. Your biological place where you were born into. And if you're adopted, there's two fields then. There's the field that you live with, but the field that you were born into is still a very powerful field. And even though some people never have met their parents, or maybe they were adopted at the age of 1, they'll have remarkable similarities and characteristics, behavior patterns, such as maybe having the same amount of children, or maybe the same amount of divorces, or having the same pattern with difficulty with men. And this is because of the field phenomena. It's an amazing topic. Now, I'm also going to throw in here a little gift. We started off talking about past lives, and in my book, at the 11th hour, I decided to take out all the information I wrote on past lives. But I'm going to offer that for your audience. If anybody wants the information that I wrote on past lives, go ahead and shoot me an email. This is actually the first time I'm offering it. If anybody shoots me an email, I'll go ahead and just share a PDF of it as well.
And which email would that be, so people can do that?
Yeah, it's my same as my website, sharaogin.com. I'll spell it ogin@gmail.com. And that's my website is sharaogin.com.
Great. Awesome. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, past lives, because, my background is science and knowledge and facts and factoids and all that stuff. And quite frankly, I never believed or wanted to, well, actually, let me rephrase it. I wanted to believe it, but because of the culture that I grew up in, I was told not to believe it. But fortunately, I had a mom that believed in that kind of stuff. And so I trusted my mom's, intuition, and ultimately came to terms with it as I had my own experiences of past lives. So share with us, and we have about 5 more minutes.
So here's the really cool thing about past lives is whether you believe it or not, when you access the past life and get the information, things shift regardless. Okay. So sometimes when I'm doing past life readings and I take people through past life regression sessions as well, it doesn't matter. You don't have to get in your head about, is this information true or not? It doesn't matter. It's super crazy when I do readings on people and say I'm doing it specifically on something around their pain, and then I want to know the root of it, I'll go back, their pain will literally go away. Like, is that not evidence enough that something has moved out of their field?
Yep.
It's crazy.
And I think just having that openness, to explore areas that seem so weird or foreign to us, but they're only weird and foreign to us because, we haven't met anybody who was an authority in that area to allow us to believe in that. So in essence, really, we're the full summation of all the beliefs that we've acquired over time.
Yeah.
And then we have to ask ourselves, well, if I'm, so fulfilled and joyous and actualized, that's the word I'm looking for, then that means that, I've come to terms with everything that's happened in my life, and I have a perspective of life is positive and generative. But if you're not that, then something's getting in the way. And so having that openness to kind of look at, okay, what's out there that could potentially make a shift in my life? And that's all the things that you offer. I offer that as well from a coaching perspective. And I've done some energy healing as well, but my focus isn't on that because I know people like Shara Ogin are grand masters in that and will help you much more than I ever will. But
go ahead.
But the point of the matter is that finding people like you to get the help and the new knowledge so that we can make the change.
So one of my main focuses on working with people, and I think why people really come to me, even though they may not say that's why they come to me, is because they want to end patterns that have been going on again and again and again. Patterns around attracting unavailable men, or patterns with your family. I call these karmic patterns because they've been going on for a very, very long time. And perhaps we've done some interpersonal work, but they still persist. So for instance, yesterday I was working with somebody on, she was always the blunt of blame, like in her family, she had someone who died in the family and there was some blame, and she just always felt this guilt and shame, like her entire life. And I there is a root of it in this lifetime. So actually when I'm working with her, I figure out where it really deeply originated in this lifetime. But also always it's important to go back and find the root before that. Any extreme pattern that you have, or like even a belief system that's very strong within inside yourself about like effort, you have to work hard to make money, this stemmed from before you were even born. So there's ancestral, there's past life, and there's childhood. And then we're going through life still living these same patterns, and all of our cells align to all of these thoughts that we're doing with. And then people come to me, and this has been going on their entire life, to actually have something change in one session after your entire life has been thinking and, feeling a certain way. Like for me, my main block in life, and we all have maybe 5 or 6, but maybe we have like 1 or 2 main ones. My main one was finding love. Like, you would think, okay, why can I find love? But I literally had never experienced love until the age of 44. Pretty sad, huh? But that was like, I was like this wounded bird. I was like, what is going on? I had to like heal it from all the different levels. It's really profound and deep. And so that's actually why I work with so many women on the path to love. I feel like when you really work hard to do something like your full dissertation, you have to learn all about it. Then that informs some of why you're put here on the planet, some of your life purpose.
Yeah, and that was yours. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know you've written this wonderful book that I'm super excited about, Unlocking the Body's Wisdom, Accessing Your Healing Power from Within. Tell us a little bit about that. We have a few more minutes, but I really want people to get a taste of this amazing book that's currently available, because it is going to be life-changing if you read this book and begin to implement its beautiful solutions to change your life.
So all emotions have an effect on our physiological state. That means the way we hold our body, the way our bones approximate and our muscles contract. And when these conditions become chronic enough, like chronic anxiety, chronic fear in the system, our body has to somaticize it. It has to express it. And the way it often expresses it is through the form of pain. So pain is like a beacon call that something within the body is out of balance. So this book is basically a journey to bring yourself back into balance. In the book, I outline, maybe 80 different diagnoses, the root cause, like the voices, the beliefs, the pictures I see with the root cause of these diagnoses, and possible solutions. Now, for the solutions, a lot of those I refer to either my YouTube channel, because I have a lot of free content out there, and also to the workbook that accompanies it. So they go hand in hand. So if you really wanted to do deep dive and changing your beliefs, integrating yourself, figuring out your purpose and passion, working through what is really at the root of your pain, then the workbook, get the workbook too.
Awesome. And how do people find you?
So my book is on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles. People find me through my website, which is sharaogin.com.
Excellent. So I'm going to finish off by saying, if you're not happy with your life and about anything in your life, and quite frankly, if you're so happy, maybe you're just in denial, okay? But, if you're not happy in your life, that means you just have to make a new decision. A new decision should be to connect with Shara, connect with her book, find out how you can make a pivot in your own life so that you can be more fulfilled and happy. And the truth is, it's a lifetime journey for all of us. It never stops, because there's always some meme that's going to show up its face and dictate how we show up in our life. Shara, I want to thank you so much, and I'm going to give you the last word.
Okay. Well, now I have no words right now. It's been really nice being here with you. I think that this book is great for anybody who's in the self-help industry, anybody who has physical pain, anybody who is a self-help guru. Can I start that over?
No,
Anybody?
It's all good, because you know what? People, there's so many ways to approach what it is that we need to do in our lives to master it. And your book is one of them. And I want to.
Yeah, so this book is great for coaches, healers, anybody who is on the self-help track, the self-help trajectory. It's a great book to just have in your bookshelf, so that when you have disease or diagnosis, you can open up and go, oh, maybe this is somewhere for me to turn my focus on healing.
And I'm certainly going to use that with my clients too. So Shara, thank you so much. And I am Dr. Bart Rademacher, and this is Prescription for Your Transformation, Real People, Real Conversations, Real Success. And again, it's tapping into what I call that collective wisdom and creating the space of generative collaboration. Finding people like Shara so you can connect with her wisdom, use her as a resource for changing your life. Thank you so much. And we'll be back.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Dr. Rademacher's Prescription for Your Transformation. Continue the path towards discovering your own authentic genius by tuning in next time for more real conversations with real people.